He likes to go out and he'll pick up the bill. And then I'm left there standing in line at the food bank because he decided to spend $200. When I approach him about it, I'm the bad guy because he's not then allowed to go out to eat.
Yeah, he's not, because y'all are broke. What up, what up, what up, what up? This is John with the Dr. John Delony Show, talking about your mental and emotional health, your relationships, whatever you got going on in your life. And if you're like me, you got a lot going on. For 20 years, I've sat with hurting people trying to figure out what's the next right move. And I'd love to sit with you. Give me a buzz at 1-844-693-3291. It's 1-844-693-3291, or go to johndelony.com/ask. A-S-K. Let's roll out to San Francisco and talk to Anna. Hey, Anna, what's up?
Hi, John. Yes, I had a question about financial abuse, and my question is when is financial behavior in a relationship considered financial abuse or just typical financial behavior in a relationship?
Tell me what you're working through.
What I'm working with is I've been in a relationship for 13 years. And
are you married?
I'm unmarried.
Okay.
We have 3 children together.
Oh, boy. Okay.
And in the beginning of our relationship, I did not have a bank account. I had a job, but I did not have a bank account. And then when I became pregnant with our first child, I stopped working, and he, without me prompting, surprised me as a gesture, added me to his bank account for, our upcoming child. And then that's when our finances were commingled.
Oh,
and
boy. That's like the great Beyonce song. If you like her, then you should have put her on your bank account. Gosh, what a gesture. What a gesture.
It was a huge gesture. And we never sat down and talked about the nuances, because at this time, neither one of us had a penny to our name. We didn't have 2 nickels to rub together. Okay. But we had this child coming up, and it meant a lot.
Okay.
And shortly after I had the birth of our first child, I got a great paying job. Okay. And with great benefits about 2 months after the birth. And he wasn't able to continue working his part-time job any longer. So we decided he would quit, stay at home with the child, and I would continue working to bring home the bacon. Throughout the years, as the child got older and as time went on, we were in a situation where he was able to start working again, and we were able to utilize daycare, and I was continuing my job. But then there became a pattern of going from job to job where he would get a job and shortly quit because he didn't like it, or he didn't like management, or he would just continuously call out. And this continued on for a few years, and I just thought, he's figuring out what he wants to do. He'll find his niche eventually. And it became really hard to not rely on what he says he was going to do. I stopped trusting his word.
Well, it's because he never kept his word.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even your cadence is very tiptoey. Are you safe in your own house?
I'm physically safe.
Okay.
But I don't feel emotionally or financially safe.
Does he scream at you? Does he swear at you? Is he just like a parasite in the house?
No, he's not. He's not like that. It's just a lot of, it's just emotional. It's gaslighting, where I feel like if I express how I'm feeling, it's my problem for feeling how I feel, and that I'm just overreacting when I feel a certain way. But I am physically safe.
Okay.
And he does not do any kind of yelling or name calling.
Sounds like he doesn't do much anything.
And that's kind of where I've gotten to the point, and it's just.
So let me cut right to the chase here. It is not financial abuse for you to look up and say, I have to make sure the needs of me and my child's safety is being met.
Mm-hmm.
And almost always in this situation, it's not a net zero. It's not just like he's being a bump on a log sitting in the house just playing video games doing nothing. It's that he's also buying a bunch of crap and into conspiracy theories and doing willy-nilly stuff that he's a net drain on the house.
Mm-hmm.
Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, I think I feel he wants to portray to the world that he has all this money, and I feel like it's kind of he likes to go out to lunch with friends, and he'll pick up the bill, and then I'm left there standing in line at the food bank because he decided to spend $200, a couple days before going out to eat. And when I approach him about it, I'm the bad guy because he's not then allowed to go out to eat.
Yeah, he's not, because y'all are broke.
Yeah.
And so, yes, you have to take him off. And you have to be prepared for what comes next.
I'm so afraid.
I know. Are you more afraid of a confrontation with a guy who has been using you as an ATM machine for the last 14 years, won't even commit to you, but is just using you as an ATM machine and making his friends, using your blood, sweat, and tears to make his friends think he's cool while you stand in line at a food bank so you and your kid can eat? Are you more scared of that? Or are you more scared of ultimately filing bankruptcy, being destitute, because your husband had the willpower of a small child? Like, here's what, you got two hard paths ahead of you. You don't have an easy path. You have to choose your hard.
Mm-hmm.
And the path you're on right now is killing you, and you're watching it happen.
Mm-hmm. I don't understand how somebody who says they care about their family can be okay with that.
And I think the challenge for most people is they would never, ever, ever do that. And so they spend time trying to figure out. Most people can't imagine that somebody. How many kids do you have? One?
3.
3. Good God. Most people can't wrap their heads around having 3 kids and a wife working full time and not working ever to provide, but making sure everybody's taken care of. And when their wife says, hey, we don't have any money, blowing up on your wife. Most people, that's so insane. That's such a bastardization of the role a husband is supposed to play in their house, or a man is supposed to, he didn't even bother to be your husband. A man is supposed to play in your house. Like, so his whole life is a fantasy. He plays house, but he won't commit. He plays husband, he won't commit. He plays dad, but he doesn't want the responsibility. He plays friend, but he spends his wife's money while she's getting noodles at a food bank. I mean, his whole life is a fantasy. But here's the problem. You've allowed it.
Yeah.
And it's a fantasy that continues to grow and grow and grow. He's just a kid in his mom's basement. It just happens to be you're his mom, right? You're the maternal figure in his life.
Mm-hmm.
And he resents you for it. And yet he uses you for it.
I think that the hardest realization is that he's not, 14 years, and
Yes.
the veil finally lifted this year.
That's right.
And what the final straw was is we bought a house that's only in my name because he doesn't have good credit. And I took an equity line of credit to pay off all of our debt, and found out about a month ago that without my knowledge, he maxed them all out again. So now I'm double in the hole. And he just says that he needed to buy those things. He was getting gas, or he was, getting food.
He needs to get a freaking job, and he won't.
Yeah.
So, Anna, you are at a precarious position right now.
Mm-hmm.
And you're probably not sleeping, and you're probably spinning out a lot. And here's why. Your body knows that you are on a razor's edge, and they're going to take your house from you because you put your house on the block.
Mm-hmm.
You're dangerously scared because you know that your credit is going to be like his. And even if they take your home from you because you default on an equity line of credit that you can no longer afford, your kids aren't going to be able to have an apartment because your credit's so bad. You know these things in your nervous system. The real question is, are you going to act on them? What are you going to do next? And I get the grief, and I get this fear, and I get the terror. I get all of it. And even if you don't think you're worth it, your kids are. I'm just sick to my stomach that this is the way this man has chosen to treat his wife and his children. It's disgusting. It's just gross, man. But neither you nor I can do anything about how he chooses to wake up and piss away his life. What we can do is choose the next right thing. I want you to think about your four walls. Is my home secure? Do I have running water and electricity? Do I have transportation? Do I have food for me and my children? And if you don't have those things, you have to move to protect yourself financially, particularly when you are the chief breadwinner. You're the only one bringing in money. And listen, his fantasy will come crashing down. The question you have to ask yourself is, will it come crashing down on top of you or next to you? And as for me and my kids, I would not subject them to the abrupt ending to his little fantasy run that he's had. So yes, I would move the money. This is a matter of safety. I would move my direct deposit into a new bank. I would close the checking account, and I would tell him, I have taken the money out of the account. You've spent us into a dangerous hole. If you want to go get a job, you're welcome to have money. You will have no more resources or money. And by the way, I want you to put a freeze on your credit report so he can't take out any credit cards in your name. No loans in your name. And I don't know how the laws in California work. Hopefully his 14 years of not being willing to marry you will backfire on him. But I don't know how that crazy state does stuff. So I don't know. And then you got to ask yourself, is this a relationship you want to stay in? He's a predator. He's a child. He's not a sexual predator, but he is somebody who just does nothing. He's not a predator. He's a parasite. That's what he is. He's a parasite. I hate it for you, sister. I wish I had better news. But yes, this is not financial abuse. This is you spreading your wings and protecting your children and protecting you from somebody who does not care about anything other than himself. Thanks for the call. We'll be right back. Hey, good folks, the colder weather is finally here, and that means I'm wearing more flannel and denim shirts from Poncho, the world's best performance shirts for men. Poncho shirts are all amazing, and their flannels and their faded denim shirts are two of my favorites. I love Poncho flannels and denims because they're soft yet super durable. You can't destroy them, and I know this because I tried. They have a little bit of stretch, so they move with you, and they dry quickly. And they have slim and regular fits for different body types. Remember, Poncho shirts make great gifts for the men in your family this holiday season. Head to ponchooutdoors.com and check out all of their styles. And right now, use code Delony Show at checkout and get a gift with every purchase of a button-down shirt. That's ponchooutdoors.com, code Delony Show. Yo, good folks. I want to tell you about Cozy Earth. The holidays are coming in hot, and there's buying things and traveling and the little drummer boy on repeat. And listen, more than ever at this time of year, your physical and relational and mental health You need to take a break from the madness and create a peaceful sleep and restoration environment. I call mine my sleep sanctuary. And for me and my family, a big part of our sleep sanctuary includes products from Cozy Earth. Their bed sheets are incredible. They're made from viscose from bamboo, so they're tough as iron, but they are so smooth. And my wife is in love with Cozy Earth's long sleeve bamboo pajama set. She loves them. And I love the Cityscape hoodies and crew necks. I love a good hoodie. And these are amazing. And they come in men's, women's, and kids sizes. And I recently got this giant weighted Cozy Earth blanket. And it has my whole family piling underneath it to watch a movie. It's so great. And don't forget, during gift-giving season, Cozy Earth offers a 10-year warranty on all of their bedding. So when you find yourself in the middle of the holiday chaos in the pum-pum-pum-pums, establish your peaceful sleep sanctuary at home with help from Cozy Earth. Go to CozyEarth.com/Delony and use code Delony for an exclusive discount of up to 40% off. It's CozyEarth.com/Delony. And if you get a post-purchase survey, say that you heard about Cozy Earth on this show. All right, let's go to Denver, Colorado, and talk to AMY. What's up, Amy?
I am looking at ending a 30-year friendship.
Whoa, what happened?
Well, it's a little bit of a long story. Do you want me to get into it? Or?
Give me the highlights.
Well, the highlights is I have a friend who we met in kindergarten. We've been good friends for 30 years. It's, with any relationship, it's had its ebbs and flows, ups and downs.
Sure.
But lately, I've been feeling like I'm in a toxic relationship. She has been trapped in a cycle of toxic relationships with men since high school. And I've been her go-to person to save her, to help her, to support her. And I've been happy to do that. She's one of my ride or dies. But this last time she got out of a toxic relationship and then went right back in, it kind of opened my eyes to some things that maybe she's the toxic one and maybe I'm in a toxic relationship.
Heyo.
Yeah. So I'm looking at kind of pulling away and shutting this friendship down, and there's a lot of grief associated with that.
Sure.
So that's what I'm struggling with.
Does it have to be an event? And here's what I mean. Like, we don't have a good system. They just don't exist. Maybe they do in other cultures. I don't know of any. There's ways to end romantic relationships and there's ways to end business relationships. There's just not a good way to end a grown-up adult friendship.
Right.
Like, there's not like I'm breaking up with you like over coffee. That just doesn't work like that.
Right.
But so I'm asking you, does it have to be an event or can it just be, dude, I'm not going to answer. I don't have to answer the phone.
I think that's kind of what I've been doing. So I went through some training recently where I've been extremely busy. Mm-hmm. And I kind of was like, I'm not available this month, and kind of let that ease out. But now I'm feeling like, should I tell her why I'm not going to answer her phone calls? I mean, if she is the toxic person,
you coming up with the right explanation will not satisfy her.
Right.
That conversation will be theater for you, and it won't. If she chooses to ask you because she cares about you as much as you've cared about her over 30 years, she'll ask you, hey, seriously, you never answer the phone anymore. And then you could say, dude, I can't do the toxic boy thing anymore. I just can't. Like, you make your choices, you do your thing. I've been ride or die for so long. Like, I just don't have the mental capacity for it anymore. That's being 100% honest.
It is. And like 2 months ago when she got out of this relationship, she was crying and I was there for her and she said, please don't disappear on me. And this is kind of one of the things that opened my eyes. A lot of people have disappeared on her. And I was like, well, maybe you are the common denominator. And it was like light bulb went on for me.
Yeah.
And I told her I wouldn't disappear, but now I'm like, well, maybe I do want to disappear.
But there's a difference between you disappearing and her pushing you away.
Right.
You bailing
did.
on her is one thing, and you committed to not do that. Her constantly calling you and barraging you with tons of text, or I need you to do this, or I can borrow some money, or oh my gosh, can you? I don't want to be a part of that.
Right.
And I'll also say this: sometimes these type of, you only have a few opportunities to have a 30-year friendship. You only have a few opportunities like that. And so here's kind of my thinking on it. I have a few 30-year friendships. I have a few 40-year friendships. I believe those conversations are worth direct, in-line, human-to-human conversation. Like we've when you cross the, I'm just making this up, but when you cross the quarter century mark, I'm done having to filter myself around you.
Well, that's one thing I'm good at. I don't filter.
Okay.
I'm very direct. She comes to me when she needs the direct, like, what's happening here. And I'll tell her what I feel. I'm not mean about it, but I don't sugarcoat it.
Okay, so some of the greatest moments of my life, especially when I was a young guy trying to figure out how to be a young adult, was when friends would tell me, dude, you are the worst. And those men are still my friends to this day.
Right. And we've weathered a few of those where I did something to help her and she blew up on me and stopped talking to me and then came back later and said, yeah, that was the right thing to do.
Cool.
And I was like, yeah.
So you have a volatile friend who maybe needs to hear, hey, all these people that quote unquote leave you, you ever thought it might be you? Because here's the deal. You're looking at not having the friendship anyway. You might want to consider not having the friendship, having loved with all you had, which was to tell the truth that nobody else would tell this friend, versus running away.
Right.
Does that make sense?
It does. One thing she comes back at me with is, well, it's my life and I can do what I want. But you can't
listen,
control me.
But you don't honor that. You don't honor yourself the way she honors herself. Because your response should be, I know, but this is my life and I get to do what I want to do. And I am 40 now. I don't want to do dating drama anymore.
Right.
I want to have different conversations.
And that's another thing. I'm a mom. I'm married.
Yeah.
She's single. She's divorced.
That's right.
And I feel like she lives her life like she's in her 20s and she's almost 40.
She does.
And I'm like, I'm in a different place and she doesn't ever support me in the things that I need.
Okay, but Amy,
whatever's happening there.
She never has, ever. For 30 years, she hasn't. And I think it's not fair for you to suggest that you haven't got something out of this for 30 years. You've been the hero for 30 years. You've been the wise, steady one. You've been the safety net. And now you need someone who's wise. And it's hard having kids. It's hard being married to the same knucklehead. Like, you need somebody to be wise. You need someone to lean on every once in a while. And you're realizing, I don't have that.
That's exactly it. So
it does no good to spend time meditating on how much you've helped over 30 years. That's a choice to be miserable in your present day.
Right.
The best way to spend energy is to go find people who you can lean on. Right? And that is miserable. And there's no roadmap for that. Making friends in your 30s and 40s is the absolute worst. It's the worst. And you don't have any other options because you need oxygen. And that's what friends and community are.
Yeah. So I just don't know how to grieve it. Like,
you don't.
You just carry it with you. That I'm sad that had to end.
Yeah, I think I've talked about it on the show. I have one ride or die friend who was my longest friend, and I got a call several years ago. It was just like, hey, I'm moving on with my life, and I wish you the best. And this is the last time you'll hear from me. And it was somebody that I love deeply, been through a lot of wild adventures with. And I don't ever talk about them because I want to honor them.
Mm-hmm.
But they had the courage and integrity to reach out. And then I immediately fired an email back and it bounced back to me. That was it.
Ouch.
Yeah. And, God, I wish them well. Hope their life is full and great and grand. And also, I got to have other men in my life, other women in my life that I trust, I can lean on when things get wild. I've never raised 2 kids before. I need some wisdom. I've never been married to the same person for 20 years after almost blowing it up a few times. I'm over my head, as all of us are, trying to figure out life. And so I need people in my life. So it's sad. Broke my heart. And I'm going to go do the next right thing.
Right.
Because I mean, again, what else am I going to do?
There's really nothing else I can do for her.
No.
I've done everything I can do. She's drowning me.
That's right. And so you have an obligation to yourself, to your husband, to your kids, to your family, to your friends, to, if somebody doesn't want to swim to shore, I'm not going to voluntarily drown with you. I will pull and fight and scratch and claw with you to get you back to shore. If that is not where you want to go, then I'm not going to be I can't be your person. And by the way, when you're swimming out in the ocean and you're lost and you need help getting back to shore, if they're like, yeah, I don't do that, I don't help, I got a date, I don't, life's too short, man. Life's too short. And a 30-year friendship is not something just to throw away. And I think they're worth fighting. And I realize I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth here. If you think a hard conversation, a direct, loving, confrontational conversation is worth it, have it. Sit down and have it. If, like it sounds like, y'all have taken 2 paths and you're both trying to keep pumping air into something that has been deflated for a long time, just let it be. Because my guess is you probably were really great friends, really, really great friends for about 10 years, really great friends for maybe 15 years. And then you went to college and she didn't, or y'all both went to college, but you were in this sorority, or you had this major, and then you started dating somebody seriously, and then you got married, and then you had kids. And if you look back, you probably have been going your own way for a long, long time. Both of you didn't want to do what it would take to make new friends, so you try to keep propping them up. Remember the old days? Remember that? Oh yeah, it's margarita night, whatever. It's just been maybe you've been living as much fantasy as she has, but my guess is this friendship's been over for a long, long time. Maybe it's time, you don't have to make a big announcement about it, just time to exhale and be really sad. And then I'm going to go do the next right thing. I hate it for you, Amy. I hate it for you. And also, I'm excited to see who you can become and who you can begin to rely on when things get hard without somebody always trying to bring you down. We'll be right back. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. All right, it's that time of year when it's getting colder, it's getting dark earlier, and sometimes we just want to stay inside and get cozy. For me, my perfect night at home when it's cold outside is something my family calls the bed pile. My whole family gets under some blankets, and we get around a fire, and we either read some books out loud or we just watch a movie together. I love it. Whatever your perfect night looks like, therapy can feel a little bit like that. A time when you can settle in, replenish your energy, and take care of yourself. Therapy is a great way to bring yourself some comfort during the chaos and rush of the holiday season or any other time of year. Taking the time to pause and be mindful is one big reason why I recommend BetterHelp. BetterHelp is 100% online therapy with licensed therapists. You can talk with your therapist at just about anywhere, so it's convenient for your schedule. You just fill out a short online survey to get matched with a therapist, and you can switch therapists at any time for no extra cost. Find comfort this December with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/Delony to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Delony. All right, let's go down the street to Nashville and talk to Harvey. What's up, Harvey?
So my question is, how do I manage and balance my life with a well-paying job and then my personal life and being a husband?
Well, number one, don't ever use the word balance again because it's not a word. It's a myth. It's fake. It's not real.
Fair enough.
I want you, anytime somebody says the word, like, I need to find balance, I want you to insert the words, I want to ride a dragon. Like, it's not a thing. It's just not a thing. How old are you?
Okay. I am 27.
27. All right. Tell me what you're wrestling with.
So I've been working in the construction industry for a long time.
Here in Nashville?
Yeah.
Bro, that's like scratching a lottery ticket at 21 years old. The last 6 years here have been BANANAS, dude.
Oh, tell me about it. It's been insane. And so I've kind of climbed the ladder, and I've gotten to a position where I feel financially sound, but I'm starting to feel like I'm spending too much time, too much energy, where I'm missing out on the rest of life. I recently got married. She moved in. We're trying to do the whole thing. And then, like, from a Christian standpoint, I'm trying to understand, like, when do I keep staying in the battle? And then when do I start looking for something new?
You keep cornering yourself with an either or.
Yeah.
Like, if you can learn at 27 to fight like hell to avoid either ors at all cost.
Okay.
Because either ors force you to fight something or to run from something.
Yeah.
And those are trauma responses. They're never good platforms to make sound decisions from. Right?
Fair
so
enough.
if you don't owe anybody any money, right? Let's say you don't owe anybody any money. Then it's not a matter of either I have to stay at this job and be unethical or I have to quit and be homeless. Because I've given myself a third option. I worked really hard to give a third option and be like, yeah, I'm just going to walk out. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Right? And so I always want to create a world where I don't have to find myself in an either or.
Okay.
That's why politics is it messes people up psychologically because it is a this or a that.
Mm-hmm.
And this particular like election that we're having now has been dubbed. When this comes out, it will hopefully be over. But it's a either we die or we die. Right? That's the two options basically. And so I always want to avoid that. So at 27, you have a new wife. Do you have any kids?
Nope, no kids.
Okay, you're making a great living in the construction world. Are you on call 24/7? Tell me about your job.
No, so I work more on the front end now. So I work with developers and building deals and writing contracts. So I feel like overwhelmed at times where I'm, helping manage hundreds of millions of dollars. And I go home and I'm thinking about it. And on the weekend, I can't decompress because I'm imagining what's going to happen during the rest of the week and the amount of money that like my signature holds right now. Like it feels like I am suffocating myself.
When have you screwed something up bad, Harvey?
I haven't yet.
No. When you were a kid, did you screw something up bad?
Not that I can think of.
Was it your responsibility to make sure mom didn't get mad growing up?
Partially, yeah. I'm the oldest of four, so I was responsible for, being the leader to my brothers and sister.
Was your dad around?
Yeah.
Did he practice dadding on you?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Is he a different dad with your youngest than he was with you?
Yes.
All dads are, right?
Yeah.
Here's the thing. You're 27. I'll tell you this story. So, when I worked at the universities, universities are technically nonprofits. We all laugh at that because we know that they are very much in the profit-making business, but they're all nonprofits. There's a website you can go to where you can find out all the 990 tax returns of all nonprofits in the United States. And so I could find out all 990s list the top 5 to 20 highest paid people at the particular nonprofits. You can find out what your preacher makes. You can find out what people who lead these things. So I got on there one time when I was working really hard, 24/7, 365. I just want to see what people made. And I found out what my boss made. Dude, I got so mad because I think it was double or maybe triple what I was making, and I was working 365 days a year, 24/7.
Yeah.
And then out of the blue, he calls me, and he's like, hey, I see something special in you. I want you to start coming to meetings with me because you need to learn how these meetings work. You need to learn how to speak CFO, how to speak president, how to speak board of trustee member. I want you to see this stuff in live, but you got to sit in the back of the room. You're not going to say anything. And it was about 3 to 4 weeks in of doing this. I just started going to meetings with him, and I'd be quiet and not say anything. And I remember thinking on the way home one day, oh, God, he earns this money. Because I was busy 24/7 doing tasks. He was under the squat rack. The whole thing rested on his shoulders.
Yeah.
And he got paid for that weight.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And so what you're figuring out at 27 years old is like these guys are like, you're going to be a leader someday. And you're like, yahoo! And you're going to make this kind of money. And you're like, yeah! And now you're learning, oh, God.
Yeah.
These people get paid for the weight they carry.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And you're figuring out in real time why men die sooner than women do.
Oh, yeah. I've had that conversation with my wife. I'm like, man, I am sleeping like 5 hours a day, maybe. Yes. And I am understanding, what this is going to be for the rest of my life.
Okay,
and
that's where I'm calling bullcrap, though. Okay. From this point forward, it will be a choice you make.
Yeah.
You don't have to live this life.
Yeah.
On multiple fronts. Here's front number one. You can just quit. You've made a whole bunch of money as a 27-year-old. You can go, quote unquote, follow your passion, which I think is a terrible idea, but you can go do a thing that you want to do. Okay?
Yeah.
Go knock your lights out.
Yeah.
The second thing is you can do nothing. You can keep doing this. And it will, you'll increasingly seek novelty from your wife, and it'll be tough to come by. Y'all have a kid, try to solve it that way. You'll become one of those little league dads who's on the phone yelling at construction deals while you're watching a little league game. Like, you'll be that guy. Fine. Mm-hmm. And you'll have a humongous jacked up truck because you think that will bring you peace.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Or you can become what I'm considering like the greatest flex on earth right now. And that is a leader. Let me put it this way. That same man who told me about hey, I want you to start coming to these meetings with me. You know what he did one time? It was amazing. We were having he had just started at this university, and we were having a big debate. There was 5 of us in a room, and we were fighting. I think this. I think you're wrong. I think the president's going to say this. Going around the round. It got to be 5 o'clock, 5:00. I had never left work before 6 or 6:30 ever in my career. And he's still talking. He's engaged in the fight, but he gets up and he goes over to his desk and he grabs his laptop and puts it in his bag, and he's still hot. Like, we're all kind of hot. It's kind of a testy meeting. And the other 4 of us are sitting in the chairs in his office, and he puts on his coat and he grabs his bag and he grabs a hat. He always had a hat, and he started walking out. And the room got kind of quiet. Like, where are you going? And he smiled and he caught it. He's like, oh. And he had just started working at the university. He's like, y'all don't know me that well. I'm sorry. He goes, I love you guys. And then he pointed out the door and he goes, but I love them way more. Y'all knock the lights out when you come, and we'll finish this tomorrow. And he walked out the door. And here's what that gave me. That was not a sense of, oh, I guess he's not invested. That gave me as a young professional a picture of, oh, that's why he's so good at work, because he's that intentional about being good at home.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so you make choices. I am going to turn this off. I am going to go see a counselor because I'm 27. I've never carried this kind of weight before. I'm going to keep a journal. I'm going to have an exercise program. I'm going to meet with a group of men at 6 o'clock over down the street at one of these rad breakfast places here in Nashville. I'm going to do that. I'm going to start it right now. I'm going to start leaning on a group of men. I'm going to be able to say, hey, I'm scared. I'm nervous about interest rates. The stuff's slowing down. You guys having supply chain issues. Like, I have to have a group of men I can talk to.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because you don't have a lot of 27-year-olds you can talk to right now, do you?
I don't.
You're at that weird spot where you have separated from your homeboys, but you aren't 42.
Yeah, agreed.
And you're bloody lonely, aren't you?
I would say, with the work thing, yes. I've really tried to dive into church groups, and like I have a group tonight and a group Wednesday with just men that get together, and we do talk about it.
Oh, but hold on. They have to be guys you can be honest with.
Yeah.
And it takes a special church group for that. Most guys go to church groups and they're so lame, or they are wearing their performance pants, or they're just there because their wives want them to go.
Yeah.
You have to have a table where you sit and you go,
mm-hmm.
And if you don't have that, you can go to 500 different groups and you're going to be lonely at a crowded table surrounded by people that like you.
Yeah. I think so. I would say that I do have the opportunity to meet with men that were pretty honest, and we dropped some pretty heavy stuff together.
Good.
I think what I struggle with now too is like, man, I'm trying to talk to these people about, or laying it all on the table. Like, I'm scared. I don't know if this is something that I can handle. I don't know if this is something that I can do forever. And I'm hoping that the feeling goes away, but it hasn't.
You probably haven't blown something up yet.
It's true. Yeah.
It's only after you blow something up and you realize the world doesn't end.
That's probably true.
You're still trying not to make a mistake.
Mm-hmm. That's probably definitely part of it.
And so I want you to rest assured you will make a mistake, a big one. And you'll be embarrassed, and you'll get called on the carpet, and people will yell at you, and you'll cost people a whole bunch of money. And if you put the time in right now, you'll go home, and your wife will be a safe place for you to go home to. Your kids will still be happy that dad's home. You can't add the additional pressure of all the stuff you're carrying, and you're carrying a lot. And by the way, signature, all that, that's just drama. Don't do that to yourself. You know what my signature is worth right now? That's like me walking around being like, I could send a message out to millions right now. I could.
Yeah.
I'm not going to. That just becomes me making drama in my own head. It's overinflating myself. I don't need any overinflation. You get what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So walking around and be like, do you know what my signature is worth? Not very much if that's the way I see the world. Right? Like, it's going to go away.
Yeah, yeah.
But if you try to add the additional, I got to be perfect at this thing, man, that's what's going to bury you.
I think that's definitely where I'm struggling right now. Like, I haven't even thought of it that way, but I mean, up until this point in my career, like, I haven't had one of those detrimental things happen yet. And so I'm trying to be a good steward to a company that trusts me, and I don't want to screw up. So I think that is part of what's burying me.
Would that company have hired you if they didn't think you were capable of it?
No.
Okay. So in the moments that you doubt yourself, at least trust them that they would not have put somebody in charge of all of this money and resource and time if they didn't believe in that guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All of us have seasons of doubt. I have them all the time too. But I want you to really focus on who you are outside of this job. And I tell people all the time, like my personal friends, they know this. This job would have buried me had I got it when I was 30. Because I would have got so caught up in it. And I got to a point where I was actively working every day of my life to not be a part of this thing. And only then did it happen. Which allowed me to hold it really, really loosely, which allowed me to say that extra thing and be fully myself. And that allowed me to actually help people.
Mm-hmm.
And so what your company hired is you. And if you can show up and tell the truth at work, I don't think this is a good deal, guys.
Yeah.
Or I'll go along with it and I'll sign away this thing, but I think the winds of construction slowdown is coming, or whatever things you wrestle with.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think so. I'll sign it, but I'm relying on you four guys, because that's you just being honest and you being authentic. And I know that word gets beat up all the time, but I'm just going to tell the truth.
Yeah.
And it relieves that pressure. And on the backside, Do you and your wife owe anybody anything?
Outside of the home and cars now.
Okay. Number one, don't be an idiot. Don't take out loans on depreciating assets. You're too smart for that.
Mm-hmm.
Pay off your cars today. Can you afford to do that?
I can't afford to do it today.
Okay. Make that number one priority. Pay off your depreciating assets. They're losing money every second they're around, and you're still paying the same. Okay? That's number one. Number two, I want you and your wife to sit down and strongly consider, and this is going to go against all the bro wisdom, okay? All the TikTok bro wisdom and all the big truck, like, yeah, dude, it's going to go against all that. There is something deep and profound when you go to work every day and you know they cannot take my house.
Yeah.
And so you can invest money. You can dude, I'm going to put some stocks. I heard that Apple's, you can do all that crap. You can speculate on land. You can do all that stupid stuff. It's fine.
Yeah.
If you want to be able to get under the squat rack that is senior executive leadership and get under that weight of running the company, of being a senior leader, and know if something goes completely belly up, they can't take my house because it's mine. I can go get a job at supermarket and pay the taxes on it. I'm going to be fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it gives you, right now, your brain would be failing you if it let you sleep all night.
Yeah.
Because it knows one wrong step, and maybe they're going to take our house. Maybe I'm married now. They're going to take my wife's, right? You see what I'm saying? Your nervous system knows.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's definitely what keeps me up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I want to begin to solve for peace.
Okay.
Not for financial gain and not for maximum profit. I'm going to do the spread. Be the one weirdo dude that solves for peace.
Yeah.
Just solve for peace. And in your industry, you know who I want building my buildings? The construction dude that is not walking around flexing with jeans so tight that it's kind of uncomfortable. And you know the guy I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
He's got real tight jeans and boots, and his truck is $133,000. I'm not impressed by that at all when it comes to construction project.
Yeah.
It's not. And so I would tell you, get out of that world. Stay in the world. You make a real difference in my community. I'm grateful you're here.
Yeah.
But I want you to have peace in your house. And talk to your wife and say, what if in 3 years we didn't owe anybody anything? We paid off our house and it was small. We lived over in Creve Hall instead of in Oak Hills or whatever. We just decided to pay off our house.
Yeah.
And we're going to just drive regular cars.
Mm-hmm.
And then nobody can take anything. That's just solving for peace. That's non-anxious.
Yeah.
Here's what I want you to do. I'm going to hook you up with something, okay? It's going to sound kind of weird, but I'm going to hook you up. I don't think anything's wrong with you. In fact, I think you are exactly where you need to be. But I also think you've got a bunch of voices. Is that fair? Speaking at you?
Yes. Yeah.
You got your old buddies, your college buddies. They're still like, yeah, bro, dude. And you got all the news and all the bank speculators, and you got all the old dogs in the construction industry. You got everybody yapping at you. And you got your church friends, yada, yada, yada. Okay, here's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I'm going to hook you up, but I want you to use it, okay?
All right.
I want to hook you up with 3 months for free with BetterHelp.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
And I want you to get online and tell them the exact same thing you told me. I'm 27 years old. I've worked really hard. I'm pretty smart. And nobody outworks me. And now suddenly I found myself at the head of a pretty large construction company in Nashville, Tennessee, where there's gangbusters construction going on. And suddenly I can't breathe.
Yeah.
Okay? And I want you to commit to it. And I would tell you to go get a counselor, go find somebody you can talk to. I asked Kelly to pull the data. It's about a 48-day wait period right now.
All right.
That'd be hard. So I'm going to hook you up. And you don't have to sneak into a counselor's office in Nashville. You can do it. You can do it from your phone. You can do it from your laptop, wherever you happen to be. And you got hotspots. All you guys have hotspots in your trucks. You can do it from your truck. Okay?
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Yep.
All right. Hang on the line. I'm going to hook you up with the BetterHelp guys, and I want you to actually use it, okay? And I'm here in Nashville. Come by and see me anytime, dude. I'd love to hang out with you and grab a cup of coffee here in the lobby. That'd be awesome. For everybody listening, Harvey's not crazy. In fact, he's exactly where he should be. Here's what's happening. He thought this was going to feel different. When I get to be a leader, when I get to be making this much money, when I get to, And suddenly you realize this is heavy, it's hard, it's scary. Leadership is hard. They talk about it in school like it's like, become a leader. Dude, leadership's hard. A lot is expected of you. Being a boss is hard. Having a signature that can sign for millions of dollars, it's hard. And people don't talk about that, and you're not allowed to, because somehow you're supposed to be so grateful and so lucky, which you are. But man, it's hard. It's scary. And especially you can't go to, tell your buddies, I think I need to go see a counselor. I'm newlywed. I don't know how to do this. I'm breaking away from my college friends. I'm breaking away from my parents. I am making all these changes. Therapy is a great place to sit down and do that. And like I said, there's like a over a month and a half wait list across the country right now. I think 40 or 50% of mental health professionals have some sort of wait list right now. It's tough. That's why I'm telling you guys. People ask me all the time, why are you always talking about BetterHelp? Why are you talking about BetterHelp? You say you go to a therapist. Yes, if you can go to a trauma therapist, if you can go to somebody in person, go. But so many people are trying to make a phone call, man, and it's hard to get in. And the BetterHelp folks will show up for you, man, within 24, 48 hours. They will be back in touch, okay? So call my friends at BetterHelp. Sounds like a BetterHelp commercial here. Call them. They'll see you right away. You can go to betterhelp.com/Delony, and they'll hook you up with, I think it's 10 or 20% discount, 10% discount for the first month. 10. Go give them a call. betterhelp.com/Delony. Go check it out. But any type of transition, here's what I'm seeing with Harvey, the guys like Harvey, who are amazing young talents. They're quitting. They're quitting under the guise of, I got to follow my passion. Or they're quitting, I don't love my work. They're quitting under the guise of, I can't find balance. All of those things are myths. They're all bull crap. They're all like 10 years old. Those aren't real things. When you're in your late 20s and you are building something, a career, trust, a skill set, you just work a lot. I want everybody in their 20s work like BANANAS, work like crazy. You will draft off that in your 30s and 40s and 50s. Work really, really, really hard. And it comes with a lot of grief and a lot of weight and a lot of heaviness and a lot of, I don't know how to do this. And what if I mess us all up? It is awesome to have somebody to talk to. Call my friends at BetterHelp. Go see somebody. Get a group of men that you trust, that you can be honest with, and not just say it out loud, but will give you some skills to practice. And then ask your wife, what kind of life do we want to build together? What kind of world do we want to create? And don't box yourself into either or conversations. Give yourself 3 or 4 or 5 options. You're the man, Harvey. I'm proud of you. You're building the neighborhoods and the community that my kids are going to grow up in, and I'm grateful for you, my man. I want you to do the work that you need to do right now in your late 20s so that you can be well, weather the storms, and be a builder, a construction guy of integrity. We need more men and women like you. Thanks for the call, brother. We'll be right back. All right, I'm a founding and the only member of the Get Off the Internet and Go Outside Club. And yet, I, like all of you, find myself at work and in my personal life basically living on the internets these days. And as a society, we're creating more and more online accounts all of the time. We're signing up for promos, giving away our emails and personal numbers. We're buying everything with our phones. And listen, I get hundreds of emails to my personal account, business accounts. Every business wants to survey me now and become my friend. And everyone everywhere is trying to sell me all kinds of stuff. It drives me nuts. And I know it drives you nuts too. And with all of our online activity, do we really know where our data is and who has it? Chances are high that data broker websites have your information and they're selling it to scammers, spammers, and other shady people. But when you use DeleteMe, they find and remove your data from hundreds of data broker sites, and they send you reports throughout the year to show you exactly what they removed and from where. And now I'm getting way fewer of those spammy texts and phone calls, which allow me to let my guard down a little bit and feel peace. This holiday season, share the peace by giving a DeleteMe subscription to someone you love. Individual DeleteMe plans start as low as $9 a month. Go to joindeleteme.com/Delony today for 20% off. That's joindeleteme.com/Delony. All right, we're back. Kelly, am I the problem or are you the problem?
Probably both.
Probably you.
If we're being honest.
Probably you.
Probably you. All right. So this is from, she asked to remain anonymous.
Ooh, okay.
Yes.
Let's call her Kelly.
Sure. Why not? Am I the problem for what? First of all, I would never send this in, so we know it won't be me. Am I the problem for wanting to stick to my special diet when my husband and I are traveling?
All right, so
to
that's
me, when we're
definitely
traveling,
not you.
When we're traveling, all bets off.
Yeah,
so,
not Kelly.
Yeah.
Do we know anybody with discipline who's like, no,
We won't call her John.
no.
We'll call her Stacy, just for giggles.
Her mom's got it going on.
That's what I hear. Yep. All right. Several years ago, I switched to a special diet for health reasons. Prior to this, my husband of 15 years and I ate pretty much the same way, everything in moderation. He's never been wild about my new diet, but he's become more accepting of it at home as long as I prepare my own food and don't expect the rest of the family to eat the same. The problem is when we travel. Since most restaurants don't have much food that I can eat, I like to bring a cooler of food with me as well as my blender so I can make my usual smoothies.
Ooh.
My husband complains that this is too extreme and ends up inconveniencing everyone else and making it so that the trip revolves around my diet. He thinks I should just make do with whatever I can find on the menu and or be flexible and just eat whatever they have out of respect for everyone else. Normally, I would agree with him, but I feel noticeably worse when I don't stick to my diet, especially after we return home to the stress of daily life. Am I the problem for wanting to do whatever it takes to stick to my diet, or is my husband right that I need to be more flexible?
Oh, geez, that's a tough one. All right, here's my let me say it like this. There are people who eat a certain way. And a part of the appeal of eating a certain way is because I just feel amazing, right? I feel great. And there are some people that eat specialized ways as an act of theater. It's a way they enter and exit a room, enter and exit a party. It's their reason for, it's their way to get the world to move around them. And I'm saying this as lovingly as I can, but if you're listening, you either know somebody like that or it's you. Okay, so in my house, I don't like to talk about diet and all that. Like, I eat very, very few. I almost never eat bread, okay, unless my wife makes this rad sourdough stuff. I don't eat hamburger buns. I don't eat whatever. So when she makes her fancy lasagna, and my wife is like greatest cook on the planet, we've been together for 25 years. She will make part of that lasagna that's just meat and vegetables and stuff. And she won't put the stuff in there. And it's no skin off her back. And in fact, there's no drama about it. She just doesn't, it's just a way she cooks it now. And I don't throw a fit about it. And back before, I would just get the lasagna and I would pick the noodles out of it. And so it was a low key, I feel better. I don't snore. My clothes fit better and cool. And she wanted to be a part of that. And so we all have people in our life that like, hey, I don't eat gluten. It's all good. I'm fine. Don't worry. It's all good. Right. And then we all know I don't eat glutens. And so like, we all know that person. Or my daughter, if she eats a peanut, she dies. And so I look at labels now. But it's her that would die, not everyone else. And so if everyone else is doing a thing, it's our job to opt out, not to force our will on the world. I say all that to say this. I have to believe that if she feels noticeably better and she is her best version of herself, her husband would fully enjoy that. If there wasn't the theater of going into a Burger King or an Arby's with a bowl of fresh fruit and do you have any non-organic, like...
And don't forget the blender.
And a blender and bzzz, like, come on, right? And so that's where I think there's like a both and to this thing. Like, if you have diets that, like, if you're allergic to foods, you don't feel good, yes, it's your job to plan ahead. So good on you. Can you mix them before you go and put them in a cooler and just take them in a straw or put them in a Stanley cup? Like, can you do that just to be inconspicuous? Or do you have your own, just walk it into like a Chili's with a cooler and be like, you know where there's a plug? And making a shake while the Awesome Blossom is on the way. Like, is Awesome Blossom even Chili's?
No, but that's
Is that
okay.
Applebee's?
No, I think it's Outback, isn't it?
Awesome Bus?
Yeah.
They're all the same. They're all the same
Pretty
restaurant.
much.
It's a Bloomin' Onion. It's all the same restaurant.
Where does Awesome Blossom come from?
Yeah,
That's somewhere.
Outback.
Chili's.
Oh, it is Chili's. There, look at you. You do know your craptacular restaurants.
There is a Chili's Mafia, and they're coming for you, sister. I made a joke about Chili's once.
Rachel Cruz is one of those, so I will hear about that.
She loves Chili's?
Loves it.
Rachel?
Yep. Especially in an airport. Anyway, continue.
So anyway, I think there's some both and here. If you have somebody that you love and they legitimately have some dietary needs, be compassionate and kind and go the extra mile. And if you make some choices about dietary needs, minimize the theater. Not everybody needs to know. Do your thing, feel great, and go on about your life. Like, both things can be true. Is that fair?
100%.
And God, I gotta say,
Because I know those people.
dude, if somebody just rolls into an Arby's with a blender and like a just saying, do your thing. Dude, listen, I know some people have glutens that makes them really sick. A beef and cheddar or two can cure most anything you've got. I love me some Arby's.
I'm fine with it too, but I don't think it's going to cure a lot of things.
Oh, they got the meats, Kelly. Love you guys. Bye. Hey, what's up, good folks? Did you know the Dr. John Delony Show is now available on video in the Ramsey Network app? Plus, you can watch episodes a full week early, but only in the app. And that's not all. My docuseries, The United States of Anxiety, is also streaming exclusively in the Ramsey Network app. This series follows real people from my show as they embark on a 90-day journey to transform their lives, and I personally walk alongside them every step of the way. So, if you want to get all of the show stuff early, exclusive, and for free, and check out the docuseries, click the link in the show notes to download the Ramsey Network app today. Okay, now here's a sneak peek of what the United States of Anxiety is all about.
I've lived with crippling anxiety for as long as I can remember.
Paint me a picture of that.
We're going to check in with Kelsey 30 days, 60 days, 90 days.
I cannot even function because I'm just crying. My mom left us when I was 4.
I truly felt like I had no family.
She's experiencing things that really hurt a long time ago. Tell me about this boy.
He triggers me a lot.
Scared of losing Paul, scared of doing the wrong thing, scared of not being enough.
It just feels like it would be exhausting to be Kelsey.
It is.
Whenever somebody's playing whack-a-mole with their anxiety, when it just keeps moving, that tells me the underlying system's not okay.
How do I get my inner child out of this relationship? Because I feel like she's running the show.
One of 2 people that's supposed to never leave took off.
How is this burden?
You burden to the one person who should carry it, all of it. Did you ever tell that little girl that it wasn't her fault?
I don't know what to do.